Hello there. The Northern Ireland conflict seems to flare up again. The matter seems all too clear. Catholic Irish versus Protestant English. That's how it is at the end, but also much more complicated. Can there actually be something like peace walls? The gates on the so called peace walls of Belfast are still closed in the evening to separate Catholic and Protestant problem areas from one another. And there are still martial paintings on private houses that glorify the supposed martyrs of the Civil War and their weapons, and that in bright colors. Since the so called Good Friday Agreement in Belfast a good 20 years ago, there has finally been peace in Northern Ireland, and it soon will be 25 years. But not everyone was at peace. In some, the hate from back then lives on, and given the recent images of riots by angry Protestant loyalists and young rioters, it is to be feared that Britain's exit from the EU jeopardizes the fragile social reconciliation, and the upheavals of that time could break out again. The Northern Ireland issue is the most politically sensitive aspect of Brexit. The cause of the conflict goes back a very long time. From the beginning of the 17th century, English and Scots Protestants settled in the province of Ulster in northeastern Ireland. In 1801, Ireland came under full English rule. The 20th century was marked by resistance and partisan warfare. Easter Rising 1916, Civil War, and Independent Republic of Ireland from 1948, with the northeast remaining under English tutelage as part of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. The Irish Republic always insisted on the surrender of the North, in whose rule in poorer regions the Catholic Irish were in the majority. In the cities, the building policies of the Protestants ensured that Catholics could not get political majorities in their constituencies. From 1966, when militant Protestants used assassinations to fuel Catholic resentments against official discrimination, the conflict became bloody. In October 1968, Catholic civil rights activists took to the streets for the first time and were beaten up by the police, and the anger spread. Violence broke out again in August 1969 when Protestants stormed the Catholic area of Bogside on the outskirts of Derry. Northern Ireland's police, the Royal Ulster Constabulary, or RUC, failed to bring the situation under control for 3 days. Then the British Army violently crushed the uprising. As a result, there were riots and street battles across Northern Ireland. 8 people were shot dead and more than 130 others injured. Protestant loyalists set fire to homes in Republican Catholic areas, and violence by the radical Catholic Irish Republican Army, or IRA, was met with counter-violence and retaliation. The British Army, summoned to calm the situation, lost its initial neutrality and became a party itself. The concept of troubles was born. After the Bloody Sunday, when 13 unarmed demonstrators were shot dead by English paratroopers in Derry in January 1972, the situation escalated further. London took control and ousted the Northern Ireland Parliament. Northern Irish on both sides did not feel supported enough by their respective home fronts. Militias radicalized and split. Spy systems were established, and the situation became completely confusing. Around 3,500 people died in the Northern Ireland conflict, around half of them civilians. It was only a small minority that advocated and pursued the armed struggle, but the division in society was favored by the strictly denominational school system, which the respective church authorities had insisted on. To this day, there are neighborhoods in Belfast where Catholics or Protestants live almost exclusively. Only in the Good Friday Agreement of April 1998, sealed by Ireland, Great Britain, and the most important Northern Irish conflict parties, was the liberation achieved. Dublin swore off Irish reunification at this point, and in exchange London agreed to give the Republican Party Sinn Féin more involvement in the administration of Northern Ireland and to reform the police force. But the conflict continues to this day. The Catholic population has grown steadily in recent decades. It is estimated that Catholics make up the majority of the population in Northern Ireland again now. There have been setbacks, irreconcilable attitudes, difficult government formations, and in some cases even bomb explosions. But at least until Brexit, the Good Friday Agreement of 1998 was able to guarantee peace. And Brexit is jeopardizing all of this now. I talked about this in my lunchtime video already, how the anniversary of the Good Friday Agreement is coming up, and the discussions about the Northern Ireland Protocol are going on for years now. But the discussion on the Northern Ireland Protocol is more than anything else just a political theatre and a political smokescreen by the current government in London, and not only that, the last three governments in London, and the DUP in Northern Ireland. There's a reason why I always call them DUP don't understand politics. Not to mention Jeffrey Donaldson's 6,000 years theories and stuff. But none of them cares for the people in Northern Ireland, or for the people in England as well at the moment, as we can see in this crisis. They all are thinking about their own best, and that is bringing down the whole situation, and that might cause dead people again. And that is something that I can, well, we always say we can't understand this. I can technically understand why they are doing this. I can technically understand that they must be quite big assholes for using people for their own good like this. But morally, ethically, I cannot understand how they can do this. And to be honest, there will be a border poll sometime in Ireland and Northern Ireland about reunification. And I'm absolutely aware that this will not end the whole problem. No matter to what side Northern Ireland will belong, one side will always be unhappy. But the people in Northern Ireland, if they think about their situation overall, let alone the radicals there, the majority of people in Northern Ireland should be really happy to be part of the European Customs Union, the European internal market. They are doing very well at the moment. In this crisis, they should talk to people from England. They should talk to the normal people from England, how they feel at the moment, how they fare at the moment. The people in Northern Ireland do much better because of this Northern Ireland Protocol. And that is the big problem in this discussion. I always still see it every day in the comments under my videos. The problem is that not facts but ideology is gaining more and more ground in dealing with politics nowadays. And social media has a big part of it, I know that, because it's easy to spread some headlines, and a lot of people, and I include my constituency here, a lot of people are far too lazy to inform themselves. They just take the headlines thrown at them, and it's convenient to just believe them and act on this. What we need on this planet, especially in the democracies, to keep them as democracies, is that people stop being too lazy to inform themselves. But nobody has found a solution on how to do this. Not here, not in the UK, but that is what is necessary. Otherwise, some quite old strategies are working again. And of course, some of the Brexiteers call me Goebbels often enough, just because I say something they don't like I say. But the problem is that many people are using those same tactics, same strategies as the Nazis did here in Germany in the 1930s to influence people. And people are doing this all around the world again. And those tactics and strategies, unfortunately, are still working on far too many people because they don't inform themselves. And that is the scary thing. How many people have not learned from that time. But you have to stay an optimist, otherwise you are in big trouble. So I will stay optimistic, and I still believe in mankind, that they are still able to learn something, and I still hope to see that in my lifetime. And I'll see you in my next video. I'll be back.